Hello, everyone. So, we heard a lot over the last few years about the European Union, and a lot of people lost trust in the European Union as a whole. Because when Ireland originally joined with the UK, the plan was for the European Union was it'd be basically common money, common currency, uh, trade, better trade, etc., etc. It wasn't that the European Union would tell us what to do and how to do it in our own countries, and pretty much Brussels governs all, and that's not what the Irish people voted for back in the 70s. So a lot of Irish people feel very distrustful of the European Union. We see this in the poll that recently came out. And it's the truth, because the people who founded our state, the people who went out in 1916, they wanted to get away from Westminster, the British government, telling Ireland what to do, basically, and wanted their own independence. So we pretty much substituted Westminster for Brussels. So we pretty much got rid of one country and we decided to take on another, in this European Union case. And as we see now with the hate speech law they're trying to do, so they're pretty much the government in Brussels, pretty much the European Union, basically have a gun to our head, saying if you don't do this, we're going to make you suffer. Pretty much, Ireland, to the Irish people. What kind of democracy is that? Let's be honest. What kind of democracy is that? That seems like very threatening. Would you not? Because we're supposed to be sovereign states. All European Union is supposed to be sovereign, independent, and free states. We Irish people didn't elect the European Union to tell us you must do this or we will make you suffer. The only power that should, like, the European Parliament shouldn't even be a thing. Pretty much, I don't mind the European Union. What the Irish people voted for in the 70s was common currency, common trade, and common travel area. They didn't vote for the European Union to tell us what to do, how to do it in our own country. Nobody ever voted for that, and that's why I would say we shouldn't leave the European Union. We should go back to the old fact of the European Union instead of this authoritarian state of the European Union that's telling us what to do. We should go back to the old way: common travel, common trade, common currency, and that's it. No such thing as the European Parliament telling us what to do and how to do it. That's the way it should be, and I think everybody would agree with that, because that was what Irish people signed up for in the 70s. They didn't sign up to be told what to do and how to do it, and that's the thing. And particularly when we see now at the moment, nearly the majority of legislation that's passed through Dáil Éireann and Shannon Éireann now are coming, nearly over 50% of it, are passed by the European Union. Like, basically not even done up in Ireland. They're done up by European bureaucrats in Brussels. They don't give a shit about Ireland. They couldn't care less. As long as Germany and France is doing okay, they couldn't care less about Ireland. But we see that 50% of the Irish legislation that's passed through the House of the Oireachtas, the Parliament, is coming from the European Union. It's coming from the European. Imagine that. It's not coming from the Irish people, the Irish Parliament. It's being basically passed from the European Parliament to the Irish Parliament of the vote on. It shouldn't be the case, because the people overwhelmingly back in the day said, and the people in 1916 overwhelmingly said that any legislation, the only authority of any person on this planet is the Irish Parliament, Dáil Éireann and Shannon Éireann. They're the only people who have any kind of authority over the Irish state. No other country has any other say in Ireland's affairs. And that's what people went for: sovereignty, the independent sovereignty. And we have a man at the moment at the head of the country who doesn't believe in a backwards looking idea of sovereignty. That just really tells you all you need to know. That's why they hate sovereignty. They hate the word sovereignty in the European Union. But as we see, there's a quite drop from 93 in 2019. Now it's 82. So it's a big drop. It's a big drop compared to what it used to be. A lot of people feel very distrustful. A lot of farmers feel very distrustful of the European Union. A lot of people in general feel very distrustful. Like, a lot of people feel very upset. And then obviously migration, the European Migration Pact is another thing too. The European Union will be soon able to tell Ireland how many people we can take in, how many people we have to take in, or they will fine us for it. Imagine that, a sovereign state being literally told by Brussels what to do and how to do it, and how many to take in and all this. Like, imagine that. Are we not, like, at that stage, should we might as well become Brussels at this stage? But as I said, the old way it was done in the 70s, I even know people who voted in the 70s to join, like when Ireland did join the European Union at the time. It was common travel, common trade, common currency, and everybody was happy enough with that. There was no such thing as the European Union tell Ireland what to do and how to do it and when to do it and how high to jump and etc. etc. That was never even talked. That was never even on the cards in the 70s. And I'm sure to God, if the majority of people who wanted Ireland to join back then, if they heard what was happening now, that you would pretty much been, again, this is the European Union telling the sovereign state, you must do this or we we'll basically take hundreds of billions of euro off you in fines. Like, there's no way, even with the European Migration Pact, it's not benefiting Ireland. So why should Ireland implement these things? Let's put it that way. Because it's not benefiting the Irish people. Suppose that. But a lot of people feel very distrustful because there's no kind of like discussion. It'd be different in the European Union. Let's have a discussion about this. Like a democracy works instead of just saying you must do this or we will take action against you. That's kind of very intimidating to be very threatening behaviour if you ask me. Because democracy is all about discussion, the talks. And again, there's no such thing. We won't talk about it. We're just going to demand that you do this. There's no such thing. Let's have a sit down and discuss it, and we see what we can work out or whatever. It's just like you must do this, or we will deal with you. That's pretty much what's been told to Ireland at the moment. It's pretty much a gunpoint. We have no opportunity to say no. We won't do this. We won't silence our own people. They're entitled to the free speech. The Irish Constitution was drafted in 1937. It still stands. It says that people have the only person that can take away that right is Almighty God. When you drop dead from this earth, that's the only person who has the say to take away your free speech. It's Almighty God. And that's what the Irish Constitution says, pretty much. That nobody has any right to take away your speech. Obviously, there's limits and terms, so you can't just go into buildings to shout and fire and stuff. You can't do that. Then other stuff too, you can't do that. But I think that's all within reason in terms of them things. But what's happening now is the European Union has got, it's pretty much got too powerful and shouldn't have as much power. It should be the old-fashioned way of what it was in terms of, as I say, common trade, common travel. That's what people voted on. And again, if the European wants to go down this road, they are going down this road. But if they keep wanting to go down this road, the Irish people should have a vote saying, do we want the old European system or do we want this? Because unfortunately, if we did leave the European Union, a lot of people said it, if we left now, the European Union would crucify us with tariffs and trade and all that will crucify the country. Because as we see with the United Kingdom, they don't want anybody to leave their little pact. So that's what would happen if we did leave. So we couldn't really leave because we'd basically be just shooting ourselves in the foot at the moment, unfortunately. Because again, we're pretty much at gunpoint too. In terms of this, we don't really have a choice. I don't think it's Ireland. What about any other country in Europe? They might have a choice, but Ireland pretty much has no choice because, as you remember, in 2009, the European Union fleeced the country. When the country was bankrupt and stuff, the IMF and stuff, they still have basically control of this country. But that's why we have no basic sovereignty. We have no leaders, first of all, that's telling them no, we won't do this. And like not one of them, you don't hear Micheál Martin say no, we won't do this. Oh, Leo Varadkar's gone, but you don't even hear him saying no, we shouldn't do this. We shouldn't bow to their authority. What authority do they have over the sovereign state? Not one of them. We have not one leader. Mary Lou McDonald is nowhere to be found. Ivana Bacik, you might as well talk to the wall in Ivana Bacik. I don't know where the rest are. They're all sleeping somewhere. But this is what the modern state of the European Union is, and it's unfortunate because again we have to work together as European nations, etc. So we have to because it's in our benefit too to work together. But what's happening in the European Union at the moment? It's not working together. It's pretty much being dictated to. And that's what's happening. Unfortunately, that's the sad reality. Years ago, it did work, the European Union, in the 70s, in the 80s, even in the 90s, probably the early 2000s too. But modern day European Union, it's got too much in terms of what's been said and what's been done to sovereign independent countries. It shouldn't be the case that the European Union tells us what you must do. That shouldn't happen. First of all, same with the European Union laws. Only different parliaments, take for example, the French Parliament or the Netherlands and Amsterdam, they're the only people who have a say over their country. There shouldn't be the Brussels telling you what to do in your own country. Simple as that. Because we might as well be under the Westminster Accord than being our own sovereign country. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more and bye.